Hey everyone, welcome back to Paisley's channel. I'm Paisley. As you can see, we are home, but we're not home. This is a little area where we live that we can go swimming and enjoy an afternoon together as a family. This is not the typical start of our video, but I wanted to bring you along and show you a little piece of paradise that we get to enjoy. Can you believe it is the third week into September and our pool is still open and we're able to swim because it's going to be 90 degrees today in Ohio, which is, yeah, it can be uncommon. So that's what we're doing today. We are enjoying our Sunday afternoon at the pool, and I'll turn you around so that you can see the family enjoying the pool. There you can see my wonderful husband enjoying the pool. And Carmen over there in her little floaty swimming. She's learning to move her arms and kick her feet at the same time. So we're having a wonderful day. It's a beautiful day. It's warm. And then we'll show you a little bit around here. The beautiful sound of the pond behind us. Even though this is not where I want to spend the remainder of our years together as a family, I hope one day to have a house and a yard and be able to have my own larger garden. The true dream is a homestead, hobby homestead kind of thing. A few chickens, a garden, things like that. But as we know, God has His plans and we just follow them. So we'll see. But right now, we'll take this little piece of paradise and swim on the third week of September in Ohio and not be cold and dreary. And today we're going to be starting a fermenting project. I know that I really haven't done much of that, but it is that time of year. The garden for the summer has depleted itself. That's the word I was looking for. I do have a few straggling tomatoes coming along and a few straggling peppers, but I did plant my spinach and my onions and carrots for the fall garden. Not a lot, just enough to fiddle around in the dirt because I love to have my hands in the dirt. But yeah, today we're going to be fermenting, and I'm going to show you an easy way to do that. Today we're going to be fermenting cabbage, which in turn turns into sauerkraut. So if you like sauerkraut, stay tuned. And while you're waiting, hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, and join us and come along with Paisley Girl and Life's Garden Journey. Alright, so we are officially done with our little family outing at the pool, and we are back in the kitchen, as you can see. In front of me here, you will see that I have 3 heads of cabbage. Now, the recipe only calls for 1 medium cabbage, but I'm doubling it up, maybe even possibly tripling it up. I'm going to be using half of one of these heads for dinner tonight, but the rest of it is all going to go in our fermenting. So while I have you here, I wanted to show you this little kit that I got, and I'll put a link down below, but it's called the Easy Fermenter. I got it off of Amazon, and it's actually not expensive at all. And you get 4 lids for your fermenting, or 3 lids, I apologize, and a pump. I just put it back in the plastic here so that it keeps some of the dust off of it and stuff, but yeah. So as you can see, the pump is there, and then it goes into the top here, like so. And you won't have to use this until once you've opened it. Once you've opened your Fermenter taste, you want to put the lid back on, and then you want to pump out any extra air if you're going to continue fermenting until the taste that you like. Once this is done fermenting and I'm ready for a lid, I'll just put a regular basic canning lid on it and put it in the refrigerator where it can store. So enough about that. What I'm going to do is take the outer leaves of your cabbage off. Now you can use cabbage from the garden, or if you don't have a garden, all hope is not lost. You can get organic cabbage from the store and use it as well. So I'm going to get the top leaves here that show any kind of damage or anything like that off. There we go. And I'm going to be using a weight. Let me show you that. So this is what the weight looks like. It's just solid glass, heavy weight. The company that I got it from was also on Amazon, so I can put a link down for that as well. And, and I know I'm going to murder this name, but it's Solid Weight, S-O-L-I-G-T. And this is for wide mouth weights. So I got 3 of them out because I'm hoping that we'll have enough to do 3 jars. And I'm going to pull the rest of these out so that I can take the boxes and move along. Wash my hands real quick. So what I'm going to continue doing on the rest of these cabbages, as you see, I peeled the outer layer off so that got all the outer pieces that we don't need. I'm going to continue doing that with the other ones, and then we will continue on. Alright, so I've got all the outer leaves of the cabbage cleaned off. Now, if you do not have these weights, that's perfectly fine. There's other ways that you can make sure the cabbage is submerged in the brine. I have taken another smaller jar that fit inside of here full of water, and I would push it in there and then close it, and that would hold it. And if you don't have that, then you can use a Ziploc bag with water in it and put it in as well, and put your top on. With those, you're going to have to burp. Each day, just open it up, let the air out, and close it back up. But since we have fermenting lids, I won't have to worry about that, and I have the weight. So if you have any questions, please comment, let me know, and I can help you out. Now, what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm going to take half of this for our dinner tonight, because we're going to have it with our meal. But I'm going to cut the ends off and get the roots out. Some roots are a little deeper than others, so I'll just go through and get the rest of that out. There we go. Pop that on out of there. And what you want to do with your kraut or your cabbage at this point, I'm going to take half of it and put it away. At this point, you're going to cut it into sections that you can work with. At this point also, you could use a shredder if you have one. I do have one, but everyone knows that I like cutting my vegetables. It's therapeutic for me. I don't know why, but I love it. So what I'm going to do now is just start finely chopping this. You can do it thicker if you choose to, but your ferment will take longer. And it's kind of shredded. That's how we tend to like it here. Like I said, it's totally up to you. But I have my big bowl sitting here on the side. And as I shred it, I'm just going to put it in that bowl to make room to cut more. I'll do another little section here. It doesn't have to be long pieces. And that's what we're going to do. I'm going to continue doing this for the rest of the cabbage. And then we'll move along to the next section. Alright, so in the bowl right now, so far, we have about a medium cabbage head. At this point, we're going to go ahead and add our salt. And you can use any salt to your preference, except for salt with iodine in it. It doesn't do well with our fermenting. So my choice, like I said, you can do sea salt, you can do any kind of salt, like I said, but we're going to be using our pink Himalayan salt. So at this point, I'm going to, because it says 1 to 1.5 tablespoons of salt per medium head of cabbage. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 1.5 tablespoons of salt in here now and sprinkle it around and let that set as I continue chopping the rest of the cabbage. Because like I said, I'm going to make 2 or 3 jars, but if you're not doubling the recipe, then at this point you would be done as far as the salting. I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle that on. A little bit more. Not quite enough yet. A little bit more. There we go. And I'm just going to let that sit on there as I continue chopping the rest of the cabbage. Alright, so we got another, about a medium, and this is just kind of guesswork. It's not any scientific method to it, just a medium amount is what it's asking for. So at this point, I will go ahead and add another 1.5 tablespoons of the Himalayan salt that I'm using. Alright, so now that I have 3 medium heads of cabbage in here, I'm going to be adding the last amount of the salt and spreading it around. So it's 1.5 tablespoons per medium head. I'm just going to add the rest of that because it wasn't very much. Per medium head. And I just did it per head because it just makes it easier. That is 4.5 tablespoons once you're done if you're doing all 3 heads. But remember, if you're only doing 1 head, you only need 1.5 teaspoons. So now we're just going to start mixing and massaging the cabbage with the salt. And some of the cabbage that was underneath has been sitting already is starting to show some moisture. So as I said, we just massage it. Make sure we get that salt incorporated with the cabbage so that it can release its natural juices and it will produce its own brine. So you're probably going to do this, I would say, for at least 5 minutes. I tend to do mine longer, especially when it's in larger batches like this, for 10 to 15 minutes, depending on when I really start to see that brine coming up and out of the cabbage. So I'm going to continue doing this. And then the next step is we're going to let this sit and rest for at least an hour, up to a couple of hours if you need be. It won't hurt anything. But that way it can start producing that brine. And about every, well, if you're going to do the hour, about every 15 minutes, come back through and massage the cabbage and keep working that brine. So I'm going to continue this, and then I will show you what it looks like before I let it sit. Alright, so as you can see, the cabbage is starting to break down. It is glistening. I don't know if you can see that in the camera or not. You see a piece that I don't need. So it's starting to break down. And at this point, I'm going to let it sit and rest for at least an hour. And every so often, just come back through and keep massaging it. As you can see, I'm kind of like squeezing it as I'm in here, and that's just helping it to break down, to release the brine that we need for fermenting. Yep, it's looking good, and I'm going to come back here and let this rest and come back here in about 10 or 15 minutes and work it some more for the next hour. Just a quick glimpse. It's only been a half hour, and I wanted to show you that it's already producing its own brine. And I came in at 15 minutes and then just now and massaged it some more just to help that break down a little bit more. So while we were still waiting on this to break down, I thought I'd come out here for a little bit and look at the garden. We got some tomatoes still producing. The cucumber vine is looking really sad, but there are a few cucumbers on there still that we can use. And but I wanted to talk to you about the fermenting that we're doing today. People are going to ask, why do you ferment? Well, back in the day, that's how they kept their food for long periods of time before canning. So fermenting goes back way before even canning was invented. And it has a lot of probiotics that is good for a healthy gut. It has what we're making today is sauerkraut or fermented cabbage, whichever you prefer to say. But most of us here in the U.S. know it as sauerkraut, and German is where sauerkraut name came from, because it was originally just a fermented cabbage. But the sauerkraut has vitamin C and K, iron, fiber. It contains probiotics for healthy gut bacteria, as I said earlier. The probiotics that are in sauerkraut can relieve gas and bloating, constipation, and symptoms linked to Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. I think I said that right. So it's good for your gut. I mean, if you eat it daily, just, not big gobs of it, even a tablespoon of it, daily or at your meals, you're doing something to help your body. It also will boost your immune system because of the vitamin C that's in it, and the probiotics, of course. And then the probiotic can reduce symptoms of anxiety, depression, and OCD as well, as far as research is showing. I just recently started getting into fermenting, and I tried making the sauerkraut before. And I'm going to tell you what, it's delicious. And it is crunchy. It's not like the kind you buy in the store. The kinds that you buy in the store, well, some of them, not all of them, they contain sugars and things that you don't want in it that can kill that probiotic that you're looking for. Also, canning. Yes, you can can this sauerkraut that we're making today once it's done fermenting. The only thing with that, with the canning, is the heat will kill the probiotics that you're looking for if you're just looking for those or just doing the fermenting process. Heat will kill it. So when you water bath it or pressure can, whichever you decide to do, you'll still get the flavor of the sauerkraut. You just won't get the probiotics that you're wanting for your body because it does kill it off. So we're just going to stick to straight fermenting, and it doesn't get as soft. It's more of a crunchy, and if you've never had it this way, it's going to give you a whole new perspective of what sauerkraut can taste like. And it's how back in the day, before, like I said, canning and other ways of preserving it came along. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a health update on that. I choose to take a little bit of it every day because I do have some stomach issues, and it has a lot of benefits for your gut health, and it helps improve your stomach lining, and it fights all the bad bacteria that are in your system, which can also lead to depression and mood, because when your stomach don't feel good, then you don't feel good, and you're not the happiest person on earth, as I should say. So it's a good thing to have. I also, like I said, I have issues with my stomach sometimes with the, no, we won't get into the details of that, but it helps my stomach out to have that every day. And so I just wanted to let you know that that's what we're doing today. And don't forget to hit that like button, that subscribe button, and the notification bell so that you don't miss any of future of our videos. Now, with that being said, I'm not done with this video. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the health benefits of doing this and why I'm doing it, in case you're interested. And if you have any questions or anything that you would like to say or ask, please leave a comment below, and I will do my best to answer any questions that I can. And with that, let's get back to the video. And I just want to put a disclaimer out there. I am not a medical professional or anywhere near anywhere in the medical field. I'm just an average person, just like all of you out there that done my research, and fermenting is something that I choose to do, and I suggest that you research it and see if it's something that would be good for you. What may work for me may not work for you. There's all kinds of different fermenting recipes out there and things that you can do and you can read on. And like I said, I just wanted to share my knowledge of what I found, and hopefully it could help someone out there. So we're going to go ahead, and it's been an hour. I'm going to sit you down, and cabbage looks like it's ready to go. So we're going to start with our first jar here, and you want a wide mouth jar for this that's been cleaned and sanitized. And you're just going to start adding your cabbage in your jars. In about every 3 to 4 inches. Try not to make a mess here. About every 3 to 4 inches. Let me move this out of the way. You're just going to press it down. Now you can use, if you have something to press it down with, one of those wooden utensils, then that's fine. But my hand works just as well. I'm just going to press it down as tightly as I can to get all the air and bubbles out of there. And then we're just going to add more. And like I said, about every 3 to 4 inches of cabbage, you just want to press it down so that you can get the maximum space out for your fermenting. That's also going to help push some brine up as well. And you can see that brine coming up. That's a good thing. I'm going to continue doing this, and then I'll bring you back once I get all the jars filled. Alright, so I've got these 3 jars filled. And the brine, I have some left over, so I'm going to add it into another little jar here. But if you're pushing down, you can see the brine comes up where it's covered. At this point, I've already put the weights in these. I'm going to go ahead and put this weight in and press it down to make sure that everything is submerged underneath the brine. And just pour just enough to cover up the weight a little bit to ensure that the cabbage stays underneath there. I'm going to go ahead and at this point, just going to add our lid on. And on top of these lids, which I should have shown here, I'll show you here. If you look, there's numbers. That's for the date. So I know that it's September. And the date is the 19th. So I'm going to move this around to the 19th. Maybe. Try this way. Maybe it'll work better for me. There we go. Now I'm going to put it on the 19th so that I know that what day I started it on and when I know to start checking it. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing that with all of these. Now I'm going to add the rest of this into another jar. Alright, and there you have it. All three of them up there. If you look, you can see that everything is submerged underneath the weight of the brine. Then with the extra, I just used any jar that I had. This was an old pickle jar. Put a weight inside to hold that cabbage underneath the brine. And just put a regular lid on top with a piece of parchment paper. That way it doesn't corrode the lid. And this is what we will use first. Now, this is what I was saying earlier. These are set to go. I don't have to do anything else. I want to wait 10 days before I open them. Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm going to wait 10 days, which would make the 29th. And then I will open them, open one and taste it. And if it tastes good to my liking, then we can go on with the process and put a regular lid on it and put it in the refrigerator for a slow fermenting for 4 to 6 weeks if I prefer. It's just by taste, so it could take 10 days, it could take 30 days, it just depends on what flavor you like. Now, with that being said, after 10 days, if I taste it and I don't think that the sauerkraut is to my liking, I will put the lid back on, use our little suction cup here, and suction air out. Just like that. And then it will be, after I get all the air out, it only takes 2 to 3 pumps, and then I will put it back in a dark, cool part of the house. And when I say dark, cool part of the house, that's part of the house that stays about 70 to 80 degrees in regulated temperature and out of direct sunlight. Now, you do not have to put it in a closet or a pantry. You can put it somewhere in your kitchen where it's going to be out of your way. I just prefer to keep mine in the pantry, because we don't want it to get any direct sunlight as it's fermenting. You're also going to notice as it starts to ferment that there's going to be bubbles that will let you know that it's fermenting. And like I said, it's all about taste from now on. And this one here will be my everyday. I will come in, I'll leave this one out so that we don't want out of sight, out of mind. Because it does not have a fermenting lid to release the oxygen. I will come in every day and burp it just a little bit and close it back up until it gets, like I said, it could be 7 to 10 days. It could be longer. Once it gets the flavor of pretty much what I like, then I can move it to the refrigerator, and I will be using that jar first. Where these jars, once I get them to tasting that I like, I can put them in the refrigerator with a regular lid, and it will slow that fermenting down tremendously, and they can sit in your refrigerator 6 months to a year. Some people say even longer. So that's what we're going to do. And in a future video, like I said, if you subscribe and hit that notification bell, you won't miss it. I will, when these are ready to transfer for the taste test and transfer to the refrigerator, I'll bring you guys back in a new video and show you what we can do. So thank you for joining me today. Truly appreciate it. You don't know how much of a blessing it is to have you all watching my videos and being part of our family. And we love you, and God bless you. And as always, if you want to help me, please share my channel, share my content with your friends and your family, and maybe it's something that you guys could do as a family project. Who knows? So thank you again. You guys have a wonderful week.